Alright, what's up YouTubers? This is an updated video we're doing about the M9. I did a video last time about the firing pin spring being bent, and a couple of viewers were saying that either they put it together wrong, or I think it was just because they really couldn't see what was going on in the video. The camera I was using was a really low quality camera. This one's not the greatest, but it's a lot better. I can zoom into certain pieces and show you how all that fits together the right way and properly assemble your gas blowback M9. This one right here is a WeTech. The one that was in the last video was, I believe, a KJW, a full metal KJW. No, I'm sorry, HFC. Internally they're all pretty much the same, excluding the KWA M9. I haven't opened one up, but I don't think it would be that much different, but I'm pretty sure it's not exactly the same as these M9s. So we're gonna go ahead and go back to the old video so I can show you the problem for the newer viewers, and then we'll come back to this guy right here. Alright guys, we're back here with the WeTech M9. You probably were just watching the HFC M9, and the problem that I was having with that said pistol was the firing pin spring was bent. This one doesn't have anything wrong with it other than the loading nozzle spring is really badly binded, and I'll show you guys in a bit. But we're going to go ahead and start taking this apart so I can show you exactly how to put this thing back together the correct way, and there'll be no misconceptions on how it's put together. Start by taking off the grip screws. Remove the grip. I'm going to zoom in here. Not all M9s that I've seen have this brass pin. This one does. Go ahead and take it out and remove the trigger bar spring. And take out the trigger bar. Oh, we also want to remove the slide. So push this button in here. Pull this lever down, slide will come loose, and just slide it off. Alright, now you can go ahead and turn her over. Remove the other two grip screws. Take off the grip, take out the slide release, slide lock, whatever you want to call it, and go ahead and take out your mag catch. Now as I put this thing together, I'll be zooming in on all the pieces so you can see what they look like and how they go in, and how they all fit together the proper way. So you're going to go ahead and take out your slide release lever. Push the button in, turn the lever all the way to the 12 o'clock. This button and the spring should come out. and then go ahead and pull this out. should fall right out. Set those aside. Okay. Now on this one, there's a pin right here. Go ahead and remove that pin. On this particular model, it's got a kind of roughed up edge, so it only goes in one way and goes in and out one way. So I'm going to flip it over. I don't know where my punches are, so I'll be using the tiniest Allen key I have. Punch it out, and it should come right out. Didn't get that in frame. Anyway, you get the idea. Now you want to remove this screw here, this flathead screw. So go ahead and take that out. And it's under tension because of the hammer spring that's in here, in this little area. So it should just lift right out. Go ahead and push in your trigger, pull up, and then it comes right out. So here is your trigger and hammer assembly, all your internals basically. So you're going to want to remove this screw, this tiny screw down at the bottom, and this spring, starting with the spring. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to zoom in on this. There we go. Focus. Focus. There we go. So just go ahead and take a tiny flathead or whatever you have. I find the flathead works pretty well. Take out that pin. Take out that spring and move over to your screws. I'm using this weird screwdriver. It's got bits inside, so it's kind of got a rattling sound, so please forgive that. I can't find my other tool set, so we're going to be using this. So go ahead and unscrew that. See if I can reduce the rattle noise. There we go. Take out the screw, of course. Next screw. And guys, it's a good idea to be using the right screwdriver for the right screw. If you have too small of a screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, you run the risk of stripping out the heads. So that's something to keep in mind. Go ahead and take out this bottom screw. And believe me, it's a pain in the ass trying to find, I mean, it's not like you can't, but you'd rather just keep the screws that it comes with because the threading will match up. But if you strip these screw heads out, it becomes a pain having to work on your stuff. So, alright, all the screws are out. You're going to go ahead and take off this top half of the trigger box. And you just raise up and flip it over. So here's what the internals look like. This little sear will go right there on the other side. And this is your, whoops, zoom in, your trigger spring. And then you've got, I want to call this the disconnector bar or something like that. And you've got your hammer and hammer spring. Just comes right out. Set it aside. This, I think it's actually called a knocker valve. I've been calling it a firing pin. Basically, it's what hits the, where is it? It's what hits this gas release valve. And what was going on in the last video was it was coming in straight over the valve rather than at an angle like it should. It should hit the valve downward. But that was because this spring, this little straight part, was bent, kind of like a little zigzag. So this is the way it should look right here, straight. If you have this issue and your spring is bent, go ahead and just use some needle nose pliers and straighten it out and you should be good to go. So let's take this disconnector bar and spring out, and your trigger spring. I guess this also can be a takedown of your internals, as well as how to fix a certain problem that I was having. I couldn't find videos anywhere on this problem, so I decided to figure it out on my own, and it wasn't really that hard. Just got to look over your parts and make sure everything looks the way it should, and that's how I found out that this spring was bent. So, alright. Sometimes this will be glued in, sometimes it won't. I like to glue it in, but I can't find, like I said, I can't find my tools or anything in my Airsoft tool bag. So my Loctite blue is in that bag, and that's what I would use to keep this piece in, but since I don't know where it's at, we'll just leave it alone. So we're going to go ahead and assemble this, starting with the disconnecting bar. And if you notice right there on the left, there's a notch. Let me get a good side view of it. There's a little notch right there. It's actually going to sit into the box. If you have it the way I have it, it's going to sit in there like this. Okay, so that notch is going to be facing down towards your box. This spring right here, see how it has a bent little hook right there? That's going to go right into the notch, with this little straight part of it, the tail, facing down. And you're going to want to get it, let me see if I can get a good, you're going to want to get it and put it behind this post right here. So it's going to go up and over. And I'll zoom in on the before and after of it. So just basically take this little guy, set it right into the notch. It's going to be kind of flimsy because there's really nothing holding it. See, it just fell. Really going to be nothing holding it, so you're going to put that guy there, and what's going to hold it is that brass post right here. So this can be a little tricky if you haven't done it a couple times. I've worked on my pistols for a long time now, so this is pretty easy for me. So you're basically going to put the post through the spring and through the disconnecting bar, like so. Make sure that little hook on the spring is in that notch. Let me zoom in on that. Focus, come on. There we go. So I don't know if you can see it, but the hooked part is in that notch. And then you're going to want to just bring that tail, that straight piece. I already can tell it's, oh, it went in. Okay. You're going to bring it up and over the post, and it's going to sit like that. So your end result should be this tension. Okay, next you're going to want to go ahead and put your hammer and your hammer spring back in. That's this one. Come on, let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. And this little bent piece right here is going to go on this little, I don't know what you want to call it. I call it a plate, whatever. It's going to sit right on top of it, so it's going to go right here. And the spring itself, this part, the hole, is going to go right into the center, right there. See that? Let me get the light. It's going to go right into the center right there. That slot that's cut out. And you should line up the hole with, of course, that hole. Okay? And it's going to sit right in there just like that. So I'm going to take it with the bent part. Let me zoom out just a smidge. Grab the bent part. Make sure your hammer is facing the correct way. It should have these little notches facing towards the left. And you just go ahead and put that in the slot and line up the hole, of course, and then drop that right onto this second brass post here. And make sure to move this disconnecting bar forward so it can actually seat in place, and don't do what I did and pop the spring out. I'll go ahead and put that back in there. Come on. Might have been a better idea to do this first and then the disconnecting bar. Whatever. It all gets done. Alright, so now you should have something like this. If you actually got the spring over that little plate there, then you're one step ahead. Get some light there. So if you can see it, the little spring is right underneath that plate and it needs to be on top. So we're going to go ahead and fix that. There you go. So now your knocker, whatever you want to call this, I'm going to just continue to call it a firing pin. You want the notch right here facing up. If you're setting it in, it's going to go like just like this. See how this has kind of got an edge to it? You want the edge to be like that, down. If that makes sense. So it's going to sit in there like this, but what you need to do is get that straight part of that spring that's in here, in this hammer, into this square hole right there in the center. So what I like to do is I like to tip it on its back and kind of just shimmy the little straight edge there into the straight edge. That'll make sense. This straight part of the spring into the square slot. So let me zoom in on that and show you. I don't know if it's going to be visible right now. You can barely see it, but it's there. If I was to let it go, see it? Right there. So if I was to let it go, it's going to want to fly back like that. Boom. It's going to fly out. So what you do is you zoom out, of course, and you push this guy forward, push the hammer up, okay? Now what I use, you can use whatever, something with some weight behind it. I use my mag, since I have a few nearby, to keep it all under tension, and I have some other ones there to just to push inward on everything and keep everything in its place. So that's basically the hard part. The easy part is putting back in your trigger spring and your trigger. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but with these pistols, this guy could be a little bit loose. I haven't tried this theory out yet, but I've been wanting to use some gearbox shims for like an AEG and maybe set a couple here and see if that tightens up this wobble. If you guys end up doing that, let me know how it works. If not, I've been planning on doing it, just haven't got around to it. So anyway, spring basically sits in there just like that with this bent edge towards the left, and you just pop it in, put it over that plate there, and push it down. If you get a replacement spring, it's not going to look like that. This part will be a lot straighter. It won't have that curved edge to it like this spring does, the stock one. And be ready to replace this thing a bunch of times if you like M9s. It's notorious for breaking, so be ready for that. And the last step is to put this sear back in. I usually push it down. It makes it easier to, well, it'd be pushing it up the way I have it, but it's going to sit in there like this. I like to push it down. Just makes it easier to put the top back on or whatever. If this keeps falling out, just a little dab of some silicone oil will keep it in. I already have some in there, so it's not going anywhere. So with this open like that, you're going to go ahead and flip it over and just line up the holes, and then you're done. Keep these mags where they're at. Go ahead and replace the screws, and oops, go ahead and screw them back in. I like to back the screw out, that way it can find the threading and then screw it in, because if you were to just go ahead and screw it in, sometimes you can strip the screw and it'll go in kind of wrong, and after you're doing that a bunch of times, then your screw doesn't go in tight and yada yada. So it's just an added precaution. Back it out a little bit to hear it click. You hear that? Watch. Hear that? Then you're ready to screw it in. You can do this with any screw, gearbox screws, whatever screw. So that's a nice little tip there I learned from my buddy Zacko. I can't remember what his YouTube name is. I'll leave a link in the description. Great information on his channel for AEGs. He's helped me. Oops, this is the wrong screwdriver. He's helped me so much with my AEGs, so if you're looking for some good info, he has tons of it. Videos are long, but there's a lot of information there. So that's all put together. Now you want to insert the spring, this spring, oh, can't see it, this spring back here. So lift this sear up, and that's actually going to lock everything into place. At that time you can go ahead and remove these mags or whatever you have holding it together and put that spring back in. And the way it sits in there is, if you have one that has this little tail sticking up at the top, I call them tails for some reason, you want that facing upwards. So just go ahead and put that in there and then just push it into place. I don't know if I got that in there right. You'll know it's working when you push up on the hammer bar and pull the disconnector and your hammer flies forward. So you're going to go ahead and grab your frame and where's that light? See right in there? See that little spring? There's a spring inside that slot right there. That's where you want your hammer bar to go. So you start by putting in the trigger like last time. Oh, make sure this little brass bar isn't sticking out, or else you'll have a hell of a time getting it back into the frame. You'll think something's wrong. I'm gonna go ahead and do this off camera because I need to see it, and it's hard to see it behind the camera. I'm sitting behind the camera so I can do this from first person view. So you'll know it's in there. It's got some tension. Go ahead and put back in the pin that was in there. And remember, it only goes in one way. There's a little bit of a roughed up edge there that's gonna point up, so you put it in this way. Shove that guy in there. Boom, done. And then you put your screw back in, back it up, then go. Next is your slide release, slide lock, whatever you want to call it. And the spring sits in there like that. See how it has that bent edge? That's going to be down, and this long piece over here is going to sit right into that notch. It's getting dark where I'm at, so all the sunlight that was helping me is gone. So it's going to sit right in that notch there. And you're going to hold it in a manner that makes it easier for you to slip this part of the spring in here. So you're going to put that back in, and you'll know it's working when you have tension. Another little hidden thing that most people, I don't know if most people know this, but I figured this out on my own. I'm pretty sure it's common knowledge between text and stuff, but this mag release is actually ambidextrous. You can flip your gun over, and there's a spring inside here. Whichever side you want to throw it on, make sure the spring is put in there accordingly. So if you want to put it for lefty, make sure the spring is pointing up, or yeah. So you throw that thing in there, and then boom, you got a lefty mag release. Just to show you that it works, let's zoom out. Just throw a mag in there. Easy peasy. Take that guy out, and let's put him back. I am a lefty, but I've learned how to use it righty, and whatever works for me. Grip cover, and then your grip screws. Don't over tighten. You don't want to crack the grip. Screw that in. Done with that side. Flip it over. Okay, now you're going to put your trigger bar back in. You're going to want to make sure this part of it goes behind the disconnector here. Light. You want it to go behind that metal, that silver metal disconnector. And this post will go right in there. There's a hole. See it? That hole right there? You want that post to go there. So, alright. Go ahead and test it. Make sure to push up and in on this. On this right here, and you can test it. Everything's working. And now you replace or install the trigger bar spring, and it'll sit in there just like this. I'm gonna go ahead and put that there, and then I like to just, there you go. Almost done. Put your brass pin back in to keep everything in place. Replace your grip cover and screw the screws back in. In case anybody's wondering, that running water sound, there's a fountain in here for our dogs and cats they like to drink out of, so there's not somebody constantly peeing off camera. Alright. Oh, I didn't show this. So now you're going to get this part here with the spring, this little post, little notch. You put the spring on, and you just set it in there. You'll know it's in the right way when you can push it and it's got spring tension. Flip her over, push it in, and put that in there. This is your slide release lever, and done. Now that's pretty much done. That's how you assemble that. You shouldn't have any problems firing your gun after that. Now the other problem I have, and I'll do this on another video, is hold on, I'm going to press pause here for a second. Alright, back. I was charging my flashlight. This is one of those, little lever here. Pull it out, charge it, just in case you know, power goes out, stuff like that. You always have a flashlight that doesn't need batteries. Anyway, back to the video. So, I don't know if you can see it, but right there, zoom in a little bit more. Right there, focus, bastard. Really? Zoom out just a smidge. Okay, there we go. Right there is a binded spring. You look at the other side, that's what it's supposed to look like. That's what it's not supposed to look like. Now, I could easily just take that out and replace the spring without taking it apart, but I kind of want to do a full video on a full strip of the, or a full fill strip of the gun. So in my next video I'll show you how to take all that apart and put the springs in. So till next time, YouTubers, hope this video helped. Hope I clarified how to put the springs in the right way so your gun is functioning the way it should. And yeah, like and subscribe. Thank you.